Speaker today, organised speaker, and it's going to be Wole Ososami. And Wole is speaking from the professional speaker series. So Wole has been through the competent communicator manuals and he's on the advanced series. So he's actually going to give us a keynote speech today. And this could be something that he could deliver at a TED Talk or any venue around really. So going to be a little bit longer than other speeches, but full of content, full of energy. Just to, before we get going on Wole's speech, I'm going to ask his evaluator, Adrian.
Right, what is
Stand
it?
where you are, yeah, and give us the objectives. Cheers.
I was looking for the space in front there.
You were there for a minute.
Anyway, Wole's objectives are to identify the basic differences between keynote speeches and other kinds of speech, learn how to evaluate audience feelings and establish emotional rapport, learn and use the professional techniques necessary for a successful keynote presentation, develop a speech style and delivery that effectively inspires and moves the audience to adopt your views as a collective affirmation of its own. The time is 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, so Wole Ososami inspires confidence and motivates action in people. He's been a member of Toastmasters for over 5 years and he's done over 50 prepared speeches and educational presentations. He's a practicing pharmacist, a certified world-class speaking coach, and author of 2 books on personal development. When I asked Wole for an interesting fact that no one knows about him, he said that he's so bad at cooking that he once burnt an egg trying to fry it. So it might be a little long. So his topic is about reconnecting with your dreams. He knows personally about this subject from over his 12 years experience as an entrepreneur with 2 pharmacies, 1 spa and a personal blog, as well as he's learned from his unsuccessful attempts at starting many businesses and a near disastrous sale of his flagship business. Tonight, you are going to receive practical tools, inertia, regain confidence, and commit to taking action that will transform your health, your wealth, and your relationships. I like that. Wole is also giving away a free speaker health check. Wow. And his top 20 tips on public speaking, so make sure you see him during the break. With a speech entitled, "You Are Bigger Than You Think," please join me in welcoming Wole Ososami.
Thank you, Don, for that introduction, and thank you all for coming out this wet evening. It's Christmas, and I don't know about you, but one of the things about Christmas is presents. And the worst Christmas present I had about was someone being given a gift wrap. Wrapped again by another gift wrapper so that when he unwraps the wrap, he knows where to stop. People do strange things. But tonight, it's all about me inspiring confidence in you and motivating you to action, because it doesn't matter where you are in your journey, how far away you think you are from where you want to be. You will receive the tools that will help you to break free from the things that are holding you back, step forward and start to make progress towards where you want to be. It's about 3 keys that will help you to, it's our 3 keys to inspire you and motivate, that will help you to reconnect with your dreams. So the first one is the fact that fear, we had about fear earlier on from Nadine. Fear will hold you back, but faith will get you moving. I had dreams of being a motivational speaker for a long time, and so I read books on motivational speaking, I attended seminars, I even bought a t-shirt with Mr. Motivator. And I branded myself as the next Les Brown. And someone took me seriously. I said, "Wole, come and speak at that event." I'm like 19, I said yes, because I thought I could speak. But what I didn't know was that there is a difference between knowing about a topic and speaking about a topic. learn that when you come to Toastmasters. So I prepared myself, and I got there, and might I tell you, it was the worst presentation I'd ever done. 21 slides, 41 points, and the whole thing ran 20 minutes over time. Needless to say, the guy didn't invite me back. But what happened to me was that I just got deflated. And I began to fear standing up to speak. So every time someone said, "Well, would you like to speak?" I said, "No, thank you." Even when questions are asked, I wouldn't even stand up to say anything. Just because of the fear of looking stupid, the fear of forgetting what I have to say, and any kind of fear that just keeps you rooted where you are. And I did nothing about my motivational speaking ambition. But 3 years later, again, someone asked me just to introduce a speaker, and I said, yes, I will. And so I prepared the introduction, I wrote it out in triplicate, emailed it to myself, printed 3 copies, even almost wrote it on my hands that just in case there's an earthquake, a fire, or anything, this speech, I have to have it with me. And as the day drew by, I was just so scared of speaking. I rang the person organizing the event to try and come off it, and she said no. But needless to say, all the worst case scenarios that I worked out in my head didn't happen. And the event went well. And I realized that, wow, it's not that difficult. You see, the fear had kept me rooted for 3 years. But suddenly, when I started to do something about it, the fear melted away. So what's holding you back? Are you afraid of starting that business simply because you don't know what the outcome is? Are you unhappy in your job but are too scared to shift or to apply for another job simply because of the steady routine that you are in? Or are you just simply afraid to stand here and do your first prepared speech? Well, let me tell you, I joined Toastmasters, and 5 years and 50 speeches later, the fear has completely melted away. No, it hasn't. But what did I do? You see, don't let fear hold you back, as we had earlier. 3 things. Stop being a perfectionist. Because as adults, we tend to be afraid of making mistakes. We tend to be afraid of not getting it right, so we don't make the move. So don't be a perfectionist. Number 2, don't be comfortable with making mistakes, because mistakes are a part of life. And 3, realize that you cannot control everything. Because no matter how many T's you dot, how many T's you cross and I's you dot, unexpected things will always happen. So, don't let fear hold you back. The second key, I call it, don't camp at the halfway house. Because success is a journey, and you will only get there if you remain on the road. A few years ago, I took up a challenge to try to raise money for charity, and it was climbing Mount Snowdon in South Wales. Well, might I tell you that the first time I couldn't make it to the top when I came back. So 2 years later, I said I was going to do this challenge again. And so, the morning of the climb, I reached my hands out and stopped the alarm clock, because we had to set the alarm to wake us up in the morning. And then I zipped myself out of the sleeping bag, one leg out at a time. And as me and my colleagues stepped out on the way to the mountain, I began to speak to myself. What are you doing here? You see, climbing mountains is just not, might I say, what a black man does. Especially someone from Lagos, where it's it's all flat. And if you know a little bit about Croydon, the only high place I've climbed is Gravel Hill. But I got up to it with my friend Nick, Paul, and Adrian. Not this Adrian, but another Adrian. And we began to go one step at a time. The wind and the rain made the journey slower than expected. But 3 hours later, we got to the halfway house. There's a cafe there with drinks and everything, hot tea, and I sat down. And I looked at my friends. Nick didn't even stop. Adrenaline junkie just headed on into the clouds. But Paul stayed with me. 1 minute, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. When are you going to get up? Let's go. I'm resting. Let's go. I'm resting. Let's go. And I said, Paul, why don't we go back? He said, Wole, why don't we go forward? I took his advice. I stepped out of the halfway house and we began the journey to the top of Mount Snowdon. And I could see the tears in his eyes as we got close to the peak. And we embraced ourselves. Yes, we've done it. You see, what I did there was I made a decision not to stop at the halfway house. Because that wasn't my goal. That wasn't the original objective. And what can you learn from that? What did I learn from that I apply to myself these days? What got me out there was the thought of why I was here in the first place. One missed attempt, and I'm also trying to raise money for charity. So think back. If you feel tired, if you feel that you're drifting away, and if you feel that you haven't got any more energy to go on, think back as to why you embarked on the journey in the first place. The other thing that got me going there was my friend Paul. Many of us try to do things on our own. You don't have to. It's always good to have someone alongside you. You can find a trusted friend, you can get a mentor, or you can get a coach. And the third thing was that I trusted his judgment. Because I suggested going back, and he said, no, we're not going back, we're going forward. So when you have someone alongside you, just trust their judgment. As we had tonight, they see something in you that you don't see in yourself. Perhaps they see some strength in you, or something in your eyes that says you want to go for that goal. So don't let fear hold you back. Don't stop at the halfway house. Now, before I go to the third one, let me tell you another story. In 1963, a lady called Mary Kay Ash left her job in frustration simply because she was passed away for promotion. In those days, they would promote men first rather than women. And she left her job. And then she wrote out a plan to try and help women prosper in business. Might I tell you that from that plan rose the multi-billion pound or multi-billion dollar Mary Kay Cosmetics. And I checked it out. Last year, they had over $4 billion in wholesale sales, and they have more than 3.9 million independent consultants all over the world. That's Mary Kay Cosmetics. And she said something. She said, ideas are a dime a dozen. And I agree with that. Because you can find everything on Google these days. But one thing else she said was that people who implement ideas are worth their weight in gold. So the third thing for you is that always take action on your ideas. Always take action on your ideas. Because it doesn't matter how many ideas you have. It doesn't really matter how many how much energy, how much resources you have, until you step forward and take the first step, one step after another. Might I say, there's nothing there for you to achieve. So don't let fear hold you back. Don't stop at the halfway house. And always take action on your ideas. So let me give you 3 things that can help you in taking action on your ideas. One of the reasons we don't do, many people say people give excuses. I have no time, I have no money, or I have no friends. But you don't need all that. What you need to do is to make the most of what you have. Whatever little time, whatever little money, and whatever little friends you have, use that to start. And as you build momentum, because starting is the first thing. The other thing is that as you build momentum, you come across people. So people are your resource, they are your market, they are everything to you, and they're your worst nightmare as well. But you need people. You need friends to help you along the way. You need colleagues to help you along the way. So take action on your desk, find people, and then always know, always be committed to what you start. What do I mean by that? Once you take the first step, be prepared to take the second one, and then the next one. Because starting off, getting off the starting block is one thing. Persevering and continuing on the journey is another thing. One of my biggest ambitions has always been to own a chain of pharmacy stores. So when I started my first one, my vision, my goal was to have 10 stores in 10 years. And I had a lot of energy and enthusiasm and I went into it. Year 1, only 1. By year 4, still 1. Year 8, still 1 store. And I got frustrated, really frustrated. I began to see lots of things began to go on in my mind. Until one day, the customer came in and he said, "Hello, Wole, meet my son Joe." Little Joe that was in the pram when I got here, yes, he's now a big man. Straight away my mind went to work. Oh my God. I've been here this long. Very soon, Joe will come here and say, "Hello, Wole, meet my son Philip." Wole has been our local chemist for the last 35 years. There's nothing wrong with being the local chemist for 35 years. It's just that that was not the plan I had for myself. So I went home that night and I told my wife, "That's it. I'm done. I'm throwing it in, selling it, and I'm going to look for a job stacking shelves in the supermarket." So she calmed me down, and with the wisdom which you get only from women, she said, "Wole, you are bigger than you think. Just because you have not achieved what you set out to at this time doesn't mean you should quit." So I listened to her, and I thought about what she said. Yes, I'm bigger than that. It wasn't about me quitting. It's just about me finding out what exactly is happening so that I can take the necessary action and make progress. So I got up the next day, energy, enthusiasm, and I went back to work. And I began to take action. I began to take the necessary steps. I began to let fear not hold me back. So I would do things, and do things. You see, today I wish I could tell you that I now have the 10 shops. all that. But I haven't. But I can say that a few months ago, we go closing on the second one. And that has brought me back on the road. That has renewed the energy. That has made me think, yes, I can do this. So what is holding you back? What is stopping you from taking action on your dreams? Is it fear? Don't rest on the halfway house. And know that no matter how many ideas you have, until you put your ideas into action, nothing is going to happen. So what are you going to do when you leave here today? It's the end of the year. What are you going to do? I want you to think of one thing, one action that you're going to take that is going to take you closer to that goal that you have set for yourself. Don't try too many things at a time. Just one thing. If you have a pen, why don't you just write that down now? What one thing are you going to do that is going to take you closer to your dream? And then, yes, please write it down. And then remember what Mary Kay Ash said. Ideas are a dime a dozen. But people who take action on their ideas are worth their weight in gold. Mr. Toastmaster.